Remakes and remasters are abundant these days, with things like Crash Bandicoot, Link's Awakening, Halo, etc. Yet this is rarely the case for licensed video games, with the ones that do come out like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated feeling shallow and aged compared to the original. What's up gamers, Ducktales on the NES was a huge success, with it spawning a sequel and many other games based on Disney afternoon cartoons. But I wonder if this game can really capture what made the original one so great while expanding upon it, as all remasters should. This remaster was published in 2013 and developed by WayForward Studios, most known for their Shantae series, and it shows, most noticeably in the new art style of the game, looking like a mix of their previous games and the original cartoon. Every background in this game just looks stunning, and I can't emphasize that enough. They even brought in Mike Peraza, the cartoon's original layout artist, to help make the game feel even more like an episode from the original cartoon. Each character and enemy is hand-drawn, with the team's director saying that they spent an hour every day just on animations. Other than the art style, to help the game, most of the original voice cast returned to voice their characters. To seize this opportunity given to them, WayForward expanded some characters' roles from the original game, which helped a lot to expand the story, from just explaining why a character is present to adding some new witty banter, which is super cool, because originally WayForward hadn't planned on including voice acting at all, until Disney contacted them asking if they needed any help from the original cast. Expanded upon is the music, which was composed by Jake Hoffman, more recently known for his work on Shovel Knight, with each track fitting perfectly to their settings, even more so with the newer added details. I love every single track in this game, though my favorites would have to be from The Moon, and Mount Vesuvius. Despite this though, it was still really cool of WayForward to allow fans to have the original 8-bit sounds and tracks. For gameplay itself, this game does an excellent job of smoothing out the controls in the original, and making it more accessible for newer players. This is through Scrooge's main ability of the pogo, where in the original you had to press down and attack, whereas in this game you only have to be moving and press attack. Though for those who want it like the original, or just want that extra bit of challenge, it can be enabled as the hard pogo mode in settings. Either way, bouncing around on the pogo feels very fluid, aside from the off occasions on hard pogo mode that the controller thinks you're holding sideways instead of diagonal or down when using a joystick. This awesome gameplay gets introduced to us in an entirely original level made for the remaster. Taking place within Scrooge's classic money bin, the Beagle Boys have broken in to find a map that leads to 5 different legendary treasures. While Scrooge goes around saving his nephews, it helps new and old players get familiar with the controls, instead of just jumping right into the action clueless. After saving your nephews, you fight Big Time Beagle, who counters Scrooge by wearing a helmet, though after knocking off that helmet a few times and attacking, Scrooge learns where each legendary treasure is placed, which is the Amazon, Transylvania, the African mines, the Himalayas, and the moon. Each of these levels are open to be traveled to in any order and feel really unique, utilizing these environments to make unique enemies, bosses, and hazards. While you could generalize the levels to just forest, ice, underground, and haunted house, this just wouldn't make sense to me, as they feel very unique and like something I haven't experienced before. Out of these 5 levels, my favorite would have to be the moon, as it's something not usually tried in games, especially 2D platformers. It starts off with Fenton Crackshell being abducted by aliens, along with his Gizmo Duck suit being stolen. As you'd expect, the common enemies are aliens, but there's also robot ducks, and later the Beagle Boys. The first section of this level is to explore the alien ship to collect Gizmo Duck's suit, so that way you can unlock the Green Cheese Vault. Once unlocked, Scrooge's rival Flintheart Glomgold shows up with the Beagle Boys to steal the treasure for himself. The weakest part of this level has got to be the boss, as it's just a rat who gains speed and teleportation from eating the level's treasure, which is the green cheese. Though that's not to say the other levels aren't great in their own right. The Amazon starts you off with the goal of collecting 8 unique gold coins, while dodging snakes, monkeys, bees, spiders, and piranha plant looking things. After collecting all coins, the hidden temple is revealed, leading into a platforming section with Launchpad transporting Scrooge, which can easily be skipped if wanted by holding onto the rope. Either way, you'll make it to the temple where it's much more cramped compared to the first half, as you should be skilled enough with the controls by now. The boss in this level is kind of lame, as it's just a bouncing head of a rock statue, which unlocks the treasure of this level, the Scepter of the Incan King. Next, there's the African Mines, which is the most generic level in this game as it's just an underground level with a few cool segments. It starts off with Scrooge's work staff being scared off from mining due to hearing some voices, and after finding the key to the elevator, you head down to investigate. Here you'll find slugs, the plants again, bats, and murducks. Each enemy is great as they require a bit of space to counter their attacks or to dodge them, though as this is underground, most areas are quite cramped. Eventually, Scrooge falls through the floor to see the boss of this level, the King of the Terrafermians. This boss isn't too hard other than his attack involving the Terrafermians themselves, which can be quite hard to dodge. Upon beating the king though, he gives you the giant diamond of the inner earth. Then, Transylvania, which is one of the more out there level concepts in the game. It starts with Scrooge's nephews getting captured due to them rushing right into the mansion. As you go along, you'll find two different sized mummies and ghosts, which might be lackluster at first, but in my opinion, this is all the level needs due to its amazing atmosphere. My favorite part of the level would have to be the minecarts, as it acts as a great way to gain health and money while being a bit of a breather. Upon saving each nephew from the Beagle Boys dressed up as ghosts, you form a paper to be able to access a hidden portrait, in which reveals one of the original show's main villains, Magica Dispel. After another quick segment with ghosts, you go into a really good boss fight. Most moves start out as hard, but after a few tries, they quickly become predictable and easy. Upon defeating Magica, you gain the coin of the Lost Realm. Lastly, my second favorite level, the Himalayas, which starts off with Launchpad crashing his plane and losing an important part that's needed to fix it. Throughout this level, you'll encounter snow bunnies, mountain goats, more spiders, and hockey ducks. After collecting all pieces and returning to the plane, a mini-boss is initiated with Flintheart Glomgold, who throws both Beagle Boys and bombs at you, where you need to swing 5 bombs back at him. After this, Scrooge lands near the treasure's actual location. A few bits of platforming later, and a giant Yeti boss fight happens. This boss wasn't too hard as you can easily avoid all attacks. Either way, upon completion, you gain the Lost Crown of Genghis Khan. After beating all levels in the game, a cutscene starts showing Flintheart capturing the nephews, and then Magica taking them for herself. This leads into another original level made for the remaster, Mount Vesuvius. This level is so amazing. It tests all skills learned throughout the game and uses the best concepts from every level. One problem it has though is the severe difficulty spike. While it makes sense as the previous levels had to be playable in any order, it still is pretty annoying. Then the music, which I said earlier is amazing, but I reiterate, this is one of the best tracks to have in a final level, because no matter how mad I got at the game, I could still enjoy the music. The final boss is against Count Dracula Duck, who is summoned from the 5 treasures you collected throughout the game. The boss is pretty challenging, but never feels like it gives out cheap hits. The section after that is super annoying, as it's a race to the top to grab Scrooge's dime and then escape from the lava. Due to some kind of frame rate issue, the lava rises faster than intended in all versions of the game not on Wii U, and this would affect most players as the Wii U is the Wii U. This really sucks as it's at the very end of a gauntlet of a level, just for you to die because you didn't take an optional shortcut. Along with that, since the game came out in late 2013, you would think some kind of patch would be released, but nope, that's not the case. My only other problem with the game is some funky hit detection in cases where you're too close to an enemy or a hazard, then Scrooge takes a hit when he shouldn't have, though this could be due to some art of sprites not lining up with their hitboxes. Now that the basics are gone over, we can finally get into what makes me love platformers, that being the collectibles and bonus challenges. And while we're at it, I have a gift here, and it reads, "Here's a pogo-like thing from your favorite chair thief." To start off, we have the 3 different gems that can be found in levels that translate to money. While in the original game, the money you collected would unlock different endings, this had been done away with in the remaster to make room for the art gallery instead. The art gallery collectibles range from concept art, backgrounds, music, and even some TV show art. Then in the main 5 levels, there's a secret chest you can find that gives a heart container for Scrooge. This is a pretty neat way to reward players for exploration, though in the hard and extreme difficulties, only Transylvania and the Himalayas have heart containers, as all other chests give out a hidden treasure, instantly giving the player $1 million. Oh yeah, the difficulties. There's 4 difficulties in all, with only 3, easy, normal, and hard, being unlocked from the start, though you'll only need 3 playthroughs in all to be able to get all achievements. Normal to get all heart containers, hard to unlock extreme mode, and extreme mode to get the Smarter Than the Smarties achievement. Extreme being the hardest as there are limited health items, checkpoints, losing all lives forces you to restart the entire game. On top of that, hard pogo mode is forced on. You have to play the game in one setting as there's no saving, and the lava rises even faster during the final escape sequence. This makes extreme mode feel just like the NES version, but if it had upgraded graphics. These difficulties also relate to a modifier connected to the gems you collected. The higher the difficulty, the more money you get. This makes it quite easy to get all art gallery unlockables by just replaying some levels on hard. In my opinion, it would have still been great to have the idea of different endings, but it being dependent on the difficulty you played on. While I have beaten extreme mode at this time, I had gotten to the final sequence just to die and be forced to restart multiple times. I didn't let this discourage me, no matter how mad I was, because I could imagine that it would be worth it for the satisfaction alone, and it was. Ducktales Remastered is a great game, and an even better remaster. I highly recommend you play it if you enjoy platformers, and even if you're not too sure about the game, I'd wait till a sale, as I myself only got the game for $3 during a Steam winter sale. But either way, I'm gonna go see if this thing actually works. Man, I'm looking around now and I'm not seeing any label on this thing.